What's up, football family? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, PL Culture. All right, it's week 4, ballers and ballettes. Hopefully, everybody is still competitive in your fantasy football leagues thus far. If you're not, there's no need to panic. We're only 3 weeks in. Most leagues still have a log jam between the top 4 teams and the bottom 4 teams, or 12, or however many you play in your league. So these next few weeks will be crucial for you to make some headway and get back into that fantasy football playoff race. All right, now that's where we come in. We're going to help you with some nice waiver wire pickups if you're having some injury problems, or if you're forecasting out because you're going to have some important players out due to the bye weeks that's coming up. Holler at your boys. We got you hooked up. All right, so let's get started. Now, number one, you want to go ahead and try to scoop up Lance Moore, wide receiver of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Moore was injured early in training camp, missed a lot of preseason action, missed the first couple of games, wasn't very effective, but came back last week against Houston. He was solid, had 9 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 successful 2-point conversions, and Drew Brees was looking his way early and often. He looks like Lance Moore of old, explosive, precision route running, and he's definitely somebody, when healthy, you want to put on your bench and stash for matchup purposes, especially with Marcus Colston still battling that shoulder injury. Moore's value has gone way up. So if he's on your waiver wire, get him on your bench. Also, you may want to take a look at Sidney Rice, wide receiver of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I know you don't normally equate Sidney Rice with the waiver wire, especially since he had that beast of a year 2 years ago in Minnesota with Brett Favre. But last year he kind of fell off. He had a lot of injuries. The Brett Favre was horrible. The team itself was horrible. He kind of fell off the radar there and got passed up by some other names in the wide receiver field. Now, he quietly went off to sign with Seattle, who has Tavares Jackson as their quarterback, which is enough to scare anybody away from that wide receiver. Now, he was injured, going into the preseason. He missed the first couple of games, but came back last week, just like Moore, and had a solid game. He had 8 catches for over 100 yards. He looked like the solid number one that he was when he was healthy in Minnesota. And also more encouraging is the fact that Tavares Jackson has nobody else to throw the ball to. I mean, look at this stat, Seattle fans. 1 game, 8 catches, and Rice already is tied for the team lead in receptions. Ouch, Tavares Jackson. So if you have Sidney Rice, if he got cut shortly after the draft and he's still floating out there on your waiver wire board, scoop him up, put him on your bench, or you may want to play him depending on your matchups or depending on who you have injured or on bye week. All right, now we're going to move on to our viewer selection for week 4. Now we're going to profile viewer. His name is Rigo Carranza. His team name is 49ers for Life. Shouts out Rigo. Shouts out to the West Coast checking in to the Fantasy Football Show. That's how we do it over here. All right. Now Rigo wants to show some love this week to Denarius Moore, wide receiver of the Oakland Raiders. Oakland, as in West Coast Oakland. Hey, do we see a theme here? Do we smell a homer pick, ladies and gentlemen? Not so fast, my friends. Now, this one actually, I'm going to show him some love on the Denarius Moore pick. Now, Denarius actually has been very solid. He had the absolute beast of a game 2 weeks ago when Oakland lit up the Buffalo Bills in that wild shootout. And last week he followed it up with a solid game. He had 4 catches. He also had a 23-yard touchdown run. So he's getting it done in a lot of different ways. And it looks like even when Jacoby Ford comes back from injury, that he'll play a big role in the offense. So he's another guy to definitely take off your waiver wire. If you were a little skeptical, thinking he may have been a one-hit wonder, lose that thought. Get him on your bench and eventually get him into your lineup. Now, Rigo doesn't stop there. He also has a super duper sleeper pick for those who sleep on the West Coast Fantasy Football cast, right? Right. All right, now, his super sleeper pick for this week will be Mr. Torrey Smith, wide receiver of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Last week, he and Smith actually lit up the St. Louis Rams for 5 catches, over 150 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a debut for the rookie receiver. Now, if you're wondering if this guy's a fluke, at Maryland last year, he had 12 catches for touchdowns, so it's not like that he's unfamiliar with pay dirt. The guy, he's productive and he gets it done. The one thing that may be holding him back this week is the fact that Baltimore is going up against the Jets defense, and I'm sure Cromartie and Revis Island will be in full effect. Is Rigo telling you to start this guy every single week? Absolutely not. Am I insinuating to start this guy every week? Absolutely not. But you definitely want to take a flyer on this guy. What could it possibly hurt? I mean, he is explosive. He is a touchdown machine. And, if he's backing up Lee Evans, I mean, this is the NFL we're talking about. It's not exactly like injury will save you your job. Will it, Drew Bledsoe? I'm sorry, y'all. I had to throw that shot in there. Real quickly, speaking of Drew Bledsoe, what are the chances? You're playing against the New York Jets. You get knocked out of the game, and you get replaced by Tom Brady, and you're never heard of again. Okay, so you quietly pack your bags and move down south to Dallas, where the team was abysmal and you were the starter for a while. You get knocked out by the New York Giants and replaced by a young guy by the name of Tony Romo, and you're never to be heard from again. I wonder if you vacation in New York. I doubt it. I totally digress. But shouts out Rigo. Good looking out on your super sleeper pick and your viewer's choice pick. Much love on that. Now, we transition into our Homer Alert pick for week 4. This is your first time watching the Fantasy Football Show. Shame on you. Now, real quickly, the Homer pick is the guy that you draft in the first 3 rounds, and he's pretty much your pride pick. How could you possibly bench your first, second, or third round pick, regardless of the matchup? It kind of makes you look like a garbage GM, right? Wrong. You can't take these picks personal. You got to play the matchups, baby. You got to play the matchups. This week, if you're an owner of Peyton Hillis, running back of the Cleveland Browns, you want to be on Homer Alert. Now, is this because he's on the cover of Madden? Absolutely not. Now, he did miss last week with strep throat, which seems a little odd. I'm not going to call that a Madden jinx. I'm going to call that a nasty Cleveland Browns locker room. Staph infections, lawsuits, all kind of stuff going on. Y'all remember that. But once again, I digress. I have some very practical reasons why you may not want to play Hillis this week. Well, for one, he is coming off an injury, and he's going up against a Tennessee Titans defense that's ranked number 1 in the league after 3 weeks. That's right, fellas. Go look it up. They're ranked number 1. Now, the first week, they did get lit up in the run game, but week 2 and week 3, they got their 2 best run stuffers back in the lineup. And I mean the Tennessee Titans defense. This is Jason Jones and Derek Morgan. Since they've been back in the lineup, they've been lights out against the run, and they've been very, very solid on defense. That doesn't bode well for Hillis. Secondly, and remember this name, ladies and gentlemen, Montario Hardesty is also going to chip out yards and production from Peyton Hillis. As a matter of fact, Hillis owes Hardesty everything for even being on the cover of Madden. Quick history lesson real quick. Hardesty was actually drafted from the University of Tennessee to be the every down stud back. He was a stud in college, but he tore up his knee in the preseason and missed the whole year. Henceforth, triggering the trade from Hillis from Denver to Cleveland, and the rest is Madden Football 12 cover history. But last week when Hillis was out, we got our first crack, a real good crack, a regular season look at Montario Hardesty, and he was solid. He was very productive. Under the circumstances, he was at 4.8 yards per carry, and he was very active in the passing game. And so look for him to increase his workload going forward, because quite honestly, if you're the coach of the Cleveland Browns, you don't want to have Peyton Hillis taking a pounding and leaving out early with an early exit like Mike Allstott did a few years back. So if you're an owner of Peyton Hillis, be on alert. If you're an owner of Peyton Hillis, you might want to go ahead and pick up Hardesty just in case. It couldn't hurt. If one goes down, you definitely have the other as a solid plug and play. So that concludes our Week 4 edition of the Fantasy Football Show. Once again, I want to show shouts out to Rigo Carranza, a.k.a. 49ers for Life, for his contributions. Good stuff by you, my man. And in closing, we always like to tell you that life is a sport, so always play to win. It's your boy PL. Follow me on Twitter at PL Culture. That's at PLCOLTER. God bless. I'm out.